As authorities try to get to the bottom of the killing of radio broadcaster Percy Lapid, more supposed anomalies unraveling at the new Bilibid prison in Muntinlupa. Among them, decaying bodies of NBP inmates in a funeral parlor, unexplained diggings within the prison compound, and insurance benefits of Bureau of Corrections personnel cut for unspecified reasons. The alleged mastermind in the crime, suspended BuCor chief Gerald Bantag, denying the accusations made against him and vowing to clear his name. Good evening, I'm Pia Hontiveros. Welcome to your weekly political appointment fix, politics as usual. Our first guest tonight, forensic pathologist Dr. Raquel Fortun, and later on the show, we'll be speaking to Bureau of Corrections Officer in Charge Gregorio Katapang. Let's begin with, like I said, Dr. Fortun. Magandang gabi po sa inyo, Dr. Fortun. Thank you very much for granting us this interview. Well, let's begin with this. Do we already, first you've gone through the death certificates of these 176 remains. Can you tell us what you've found so far?
Basically, that's the only thing I have right now. I was handed, that's it, copy of 176 death certificates. Please take note, it's just the first page. I don't even have the back page, because apparently I was told today that the NBI would write the cause of death on the second page. And so what I'm getting actually is incomplete. But yes, I have reviewed what I have received, the 176 death certificates, and there's still some information that you can get there. Very telling as well, but that's all I have.
Yeah. Well, so let's begin with what you have based on these 176 death certificates. So let's begin with the dates of death, from when to when, and then I understand you've also summarized per month. No, how many deaths in a month, how many in a week or in a day?
The 176 deaths occurred. There was one on December 13, 2021, and then the last day was November 6, 2022. So it's not even the entire, the month of November to date. Basically, you've got 16.8 deaths per month. This is from January to October of 2022.
Mataas na yun,
the
ano?
lowest. Yeah, sorry?
Mataas na. Is that the correct thing to say? Mataas na yon? 16.8 deaths a month?
Well, you asked the question of, are you expecting inmates to die in prison? But the best thing to do is to compare these rates with other prisons in the Philippines, abroad, those things. The lowest is 10, April 2022. The highest is 24 in March. And it's something like as many as 3 inmates die in a day. Is that normal?
So more questions, huh? Cause of death, like earlier you were saying, what you're looking for are underlying causes, because we are presuming that ang sasabihin ng NBP is that they died of natural causes, na walang foul play, and therefore they must have been sick or something caused, some illness, disease, or sickness could have caused their death.
Again, I'm limited to what is written on that death certificate. And as a pathologist, well, I teach this death certification. I try to pick out what could be what we call the underlying cause, meaning, what started it all, what ultimately caused death. And in 40 cases, dead on arrival, undetermined for autopsy, was written as cause of death. And if you recall, this was the same statement written on the death certificate of Mr. Villamor.
40 out of 176 death certificates, 1/4 of them exactly as is written in the death certificate of June Villamor, the alleged middleman in the Percy Lapid killing?
Yes. And then eventually it turned out it's far from natural, remember? And apparently, all these cases were referred to the National Bureau of Investigation for autopsy, but I do not have the results yet. I was told that on the second page, on the back page of the death certificate, NBI would write down their findings. But that is not enough. What you would want would be the final autopsy result. So I don't have that, but I have asked DOJ to look into that. And then I picked out some, I think, significant conditions you'd be interested in
Yes.
terms of what did the inmates have.
Right.
I picked up 28 cases with tuberculosis, 22 with diabetes mellitus, 15 malnutrition, 10 cerebrovascular accident or stroke, 4 peptic ulcer disease, and so on. Okay? 2 had non-healing wounds. And
Non-healing
2
wounds.
had incarcerated inguinal hernia. This is something that needs surgery. So the question basically is, what is the medical care given to these people? Do they even have access to it?
Do they have access to medical care, which is what we expect? But apparently, if they die of these causes, as you said, what's going on? Another question.
That's it. Like you've got tuberculosis in jail, and it's highly contagious. And is anybody checking? But it's treatable. You can give medicines for that. Are they getting it? And of all these cases, one is obviously unnatural. There's a reported asphyxia by hanging. The question is, what's the manner of death? Was this a suicide, accident, or homicide? It's not in the death certificate. Nothing there
Okay.
actually commits manner of death.
Yung asphyxia na to by hanging, ma'am, is ilang taon po ito? And
I'm sorry, I have to get back to
okay.
that. I don't have that information right now, but I have to get back to that
okay.
summary that I did. So
Okay.
I don't remember exactly the age.
All right.
Okay?
But you do have an age range, no? And ilang taon yung mga itong 176?
Yung age range niya, something like the oldest was 82. So there's an 82-year-old. And the youngest, 27. The average age is 56.5 years. There's one death certificate where the age is not even there. There's no birth date.
Okay.
It's
And
incomplete.
yeah. Well, of course, ma'am, I don't think this would be in the death certificate, but is there any information that was given to you as to the reason kung bakit nasa loob sila, they were convicted for what crime? You don't know that yet, right?
No, I don't know that.
That's not, and it will not be material anyway to the autopsy that you
Yes.
are supposed to perform.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's actually immaterial.
All right. For which, of course, you have not yet received formal authorization.
Our arrangements are still fluid. I would again require authorization from the Department of Justice for me to do the examination.
Okay.
I don't have that yet, and then we're still talking about. I'm giving them suggestions about which cases to prioritize. Like, for instance, I heard in the news there was a claimant, a sister of one of the fatalities or the one who died sometime October 7. And then when you check, there were 3 people who died that day. And I think she was a sister of the youngest one. I was told that he died of tuberculosis.
Ito yung 27-year-old. Yeah. Ito yung
40-something-year-old.
40. Okay. Anyway, Dr. Fortun. Dr. Fortun, we need to take a break, and then I need to speak first to Gerald Katapang on the other line for the second segment of the show. But you're coming back for the third and final segment. So I hope you don't mind. Please stay on the line lang po. Dr. Raquel Fortun. We'll be back after a very quick break. This is Politics as Usual. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is Politics as Usual. Our next guest in the second segment of the show, Bureau of Corrections Officer in Charge, Gregorio Catapang. Good evening, General Catapang. Nakinig po ba kayo kanina sa sinasabi po ni Dr. Raquel Fortun?
Ay, hindi po.
Ay, hindi. Okay.
Opo.
Well, she was just giving a summary of the 176 death certificates na ibinigay po sa kanya. Marami po siyang mga observations. For example, from January to October 2022, merong an average of 16.8 or 16 deaths per month. In April, 10. Sa March 24. So malaki, no? Medyo malaki. Tapos meron po din siyang sinasabi na 40 out of the 176 deaths, ang nakalagay lang po sa death certificate, DOA, undetermined for autopsy. Tapos meron din po siyang sinabi na hindi daw binibigay sa kanya yung page 2, yung second page ng death certificate. Are you aware already of what she has said so far, and also the fact na yung second page kung saan nilalagay po yung cause of death hindi binigay sa kanya?
Yung second page po ng baka hindi lang namin na Xerox lahat. We will look into it. Kung ano papadala po namin.
Okay.
Second page.
Okay.
Ng report.
Yeah. Is it a cause of concern for you, sir, na ang sinasabi po niya, based on the 176 death certificates, and these are only those that were brought to Eastern Funeral Services, yung a minimum of 16 deaths a month, yun po yung average. Is that, of course, ang question niya is we have to compare it with other prisons in the Philippines and around the world. Is this a cause for concern, 16 deaths, or is this normal?
Well, kung ako, from my perspective, it's a cause of concern. Kasi nga, dinala na sa amin yan for reformation and safekeeping. They have to take care of them while they're serving their sentences. So, yung data na yan, that will be useful for me. So, next move ko dyan is pa-check up ko lahat ng mga inmates, if that's the case. Diba?
Yes. Well, speaking of check-up, sabi na nga po niya, doon, again, based on the 176 death certificates, yung merong 28 cases, may TB, merong 22 diabetes mellitus, merong 10 na namatay dahil sa stroke, merong 4 na may peptic ulcer, may 2 na non-healing wound. So, ang tanong niya is, meron bang medical care that the PDLs have access to?
Alam ko may medical allowance sila na 5 pesos per day Pero that will not be enough kasi, di ba, kailangan may monthly check-up sila or whatever. Siguro we will include that in the package. Kung pagpasok pa lang nila sa amin they have already medical concerns, that will be also our concern. To make sure that they remain or they regain their health in the BuCor while under custody.
General Catapang, dahil sa Percy Lapid killing case, ang dami pong nahukay na mga nangyayari po sa loob ng New Bilibid Prison and not just, hindi lang po pinag-uusapan dito yung 1,000 pesos bawat can ng beer. So, kayo po mismo nagsabi, no? Kayo po mismo nag-present doon sa media itong diggings, this huge hole that was discovered, well, literally and figuratively right in your own backyard. Nalaman na po ba natin kung para saan po yon, yung 200-meter wide or long and 30-meter deep na hukay?
Yeah, yung DNR kasi ang expert dyan So they just inspected yesterday. Siguro may follow-up report sila. But to tell you frankly, Pia, totoo yung may kasabihan na I'm just at the tip of the iceberg. Marami pa nakikita na kaming problema dito. That's why I'm now even calling the COA to help us. Kung pwede magkaroon ng performance audit, financial audit, management audit. for this Bureau of Corrections. Talagang ang daming loopholes na it's really improper lahat yung mga transaction dito. It's really prone for corruption because there's no systems, processes, and procedure in place. There are no protocols. Ang daming naayusin dito.
Like what kind of transactions, sir, would you say seem worrisome na kailangan COA na ang tumingin dito?
Yeah, worrisome. Why? Ang dami ditong mga tao that they gave up their managerial position or kahit clerk position because they don't want to sign a paper that they didn't see the transaction. Ganun katindi ang ngayon nandito na ako sa auditing of the performance. Mga investigador, hindi naman sila talagang auditor or accountants that can really say that it's clean or not, no? So I need the expert advice of the COA, and maybe hopefully I'll write the letter to the good secretary Boying Rimulya to allow COA to conduct an impartial external audit of BuCor.
Okay, so COA audit ang pinag-uusapan, and then kanina lang po sabi po ninyo, which sounds very sad, no? 5 pesos lang pala ang medical allowance ng bawat PDL dyan sa loob. It's quite concerning. Also, General Katapang, meron pong sinasabi si Secretary Boying Rimulya na meron na po kayong plano that within the next 30 days, you will be cutting all communication lines dahil hindi naman talaga dapat merong mga telepono sa loob. Can you detail that for us, sir?
It will be a controlled communication. We'll give them the cell phone or a laptop so that they can continue communicating with their loved ones. Kasi pag pinutol mo yung kanilang communication with their loved ones, you are destroying their transformation roadmap or their individual transformation. Siyempre, ikaw nga, inkomunikado ka sa kamag-anak mo. Di ba nakakalungkot yun? Hindi ka na nga nakakalabas sa kulungan. Hindi mo pa makausap yung kamag-anak mo. Tapos wala pa bumibisita sa'yo. Di ba nakakalungkot yun? Paano siya magbabago? How can he reform without... Kailangan magkaroon siya ng compassion, no?
Okay. So in other words, General, magkakaroon po ng para bang isang kwarto dyan na merong mga cellphone lines, laptops, computers, pero dyan sila pupunta. There will be no other forms of communication. And
totoo yan, tama yan. Kasi we are trying to negotiate with them Kasi ang maganda sa kanila, meron silang palabra of the honor. Pag na ito napag-usapan na to, their chain of command, meron silang commander, mga mayores, yan ang kinakausap namin. And then, that's the only way we can manage the corrections.
So in other words,
right
magkakaroon po ng, parang isusurrender na lang nila yung mga telepono. On the express provision.
Okay. 500 na.
Alright, pero meron pa po? Or yun na po yun?
Yeah, meron pa, pero I will block them, yung mga cellphone nila na unauthorized. Parang meron kaming cellphone, papagamit sa kanila, monitored.
Okay.
Pero yung cellphone na gagamitin nila, pag sumama sa radar namin, papatayin namin. I-shut
Kaya
down
niyong gawin yon.
Yes, we have that capability.
So is this all going to happen in the next 30 days, as Secretary Boying was saying?
Ang usapan during the anniversary, I was 27 years old, or 20 days old. So, using the number 117 minus 27, I have 90 days. Sabi ko, within 90 days, I will effect the reforms at the operational and the tactical level. No, yung policy level, yung pagtayo ng panibagong correction or maximum security unit, sa level na ni Secretary Boying yon.
Okay. Gerald Katapang, we just need to take a very quick break. You'll still be joining us in the last segment of the show, the last 8 minutes of the show. Please stand by, sir. More from our guests when we return. This is Politics as Usual. Welcome back to the final stretch of Politics as Usual. Still with us, General Greg Katapang, OIC BuCor, and Dr. Raquel Fortun. General Katapang, nakita na po ba yung cellphone ni June Villamor or is that lost cause already?
Marami kaming forensic na cellphone eh. And hopefully, matetest yan. And hopefully, nandiyan pa yung cellphone ni Villamor na naiwan doon sa mga na sinurrender nila.
I see. Okay. Very quickly lang po, General, meron pong issue about the insurance benefits of BuCor personnel. What happened to that?
Oh, yun po. Another issue
Isa pang
na naman yan
kailangan
na
i-audit.
nakita namin. Oo. We are investigating it but hindi ko pa pwedeng ano yan. We are barely scratching it kasi nga how come they have to transfer from GSIS to another private finance or loan lending office, and then they get to pay a bigger amount of interest. So another rin pampapigat din yun sa mga BuCor.
Ano pong opisina yon, sir? What office or firm is that? Kung hindi po GSIS?
Yeah, we check naman with GSIS. Talaga hindi na raw pwedeng mag-member yung mga uniform men. That's why we want to be part of the new retirement law for the uniform men.
All right, okay.
Opo.
And General Katapang, what happened to the rest of the PDLs? Hindi po ba nung umpisa ng kasong ito, ng investigasyon, NBI and PNP had asked you to secure a number of PDLs who may have something to do with the case. Ano na po nangyari sa kanila?
They are with the NBI, in custody with the NBI.
Okay, so wala dyan. Okay, General Katapang, standby lang po. Dr. Fortun is on our Zoom line right now. Dr. Fortun, you still there?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
here.
Ma'am, ang sabi, tinanong ko po kay General Katapang, yung tungkol po sa page 2 na hinahanap ninyo na death certificate. Ang sabi po niya, they will send that to you and that itong mga observations and data that you came up with will be useful to him now that he's trying to institute some reforms there in New Bilibid Prison. And also, earlier, meron po kayong mga sinasabi about yung mga findings nyo about the 176 death certificates. Your comments on that?
Earlier, I was saying yung cause of death. You get to pick up disease conditions that are alarming because these diseases are, treatable, and you are dealing with prisoners, and you really wouldn't want them to be infected. Okay, so that's one. The other is in the death certificates. Actually, although this is a widespread problem, nobody commits to manner of death. If you are saying the cause of death is a natural one, then it's implied that the manner is natural. However, as I said earlier, I picked up one where the cause of death allegedly was asphyxia by hanging. And there's nothing there to say, wow, was this a suicide? Was this an accident? Was this homicide? So, to me, that's questionable.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
And also, ma'am, meron po siyang sinabi kanina dahil I brought it up with him. Yung sinabi po ninyo, all these concerns, no? And the question is, do they have access to medical care? And he said, well, they do have access to medical care. However, it is 5 pesos a day per PDL.
That's That's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, he said he wants to do something about it
with
also.
5 pesos.
Yes.
And then you've got inmates dying of,
TB,
well,
for
that's
example.
what's written there.
Yeah. Okay.
Dying of several conditions, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Well,
not enough.
oo. One last question. Final question, sir. General Katapang, kasi sabi po ninyo, tip of the iceberg pa lang, you're just barely scratching the surface. Yung isa pa pong nadiskubre ninyo, yung mga kabayo, pangsabong sa loob ng NBP?
Yeah. These are personal owned cockfighting birds, and then also the personal owned horses, no? So problema yan. Bakit nag-aalaga kami ng mga hayop na hindi naman pag-aari ng BuCor?
Okay. And syempre hindi po authorized yun. Like you said, personal property po yun. Tapos naandoon sa BuCor.
Opo.
And this is something, is there anything more that you've discovered that we're going to be surprised about?
Yeah. Marami pa. Parang telenovela ito. Mahaba pa ito. Kaya nga barely scratching the ice.
Okay. Well, you have 30 seconds, sir. Can you add more? Can you add more to that list?
Saka na. Medyo full
Sir, clue na
kami.
lang. Clue.
Clue?
Give us one. Yeah, give us one. Right before we say goodbye to you.
Mahirap magsalita. I don't want to burn all the forest tonight. Maybe some other time na lang. Oo.
You'd rather burn the forest some other time, not tonight.
Yeah. Please,
I wish we had more time.
I'm sorry.
Ubus na rin po yung oras. Burning the forest would take up so much more time. Thank you so much to our guests tonight, General Greg Katapang and Dr. Raquel Fortun. Thank you so much for being with us. We've been told before, don't talk politics at the dinner table or the family reunion or in Viber groups, and risk warfare, digital or otherwise. But we can talk about it here at this table on this show, your weekly political appointment fix, politics as usual. I'm Pia Hontiveros. See you back here next Wednesday, 8 p.m.